The Merceau Investigation is a 2013 novel by the Algerian author Kamel Daoud, devised chiefly as a response to Albert Camus' 1942 The Outsider. It's a profound reflection on murder, memory, colonialism, religion, family, and loss. Daoud studied French literature at the University of Oran and is a well-known journalist in his home country. The Merceau Investigation won a Goncourt Prize, and The Economist called it an essential companion to Camus' masterpiece. This review contains spoilers. The book purports to be a first-person narration by the brother of the nameless Arab Merceau killed on the beach in The Outsider. Haroun Ould El-Assas is an old man recounting the killing's impact on his family over half a century after it occurred. He's bitter, and with good reason. His brother's body was never recovered, and no official ever came to the family home to hear their side of the story, to express condolences, or to show the slightest bit of interest. It's one of the central conceits of this novel that Merceau won the appeal against his sentence, which was pending at the end of The Outsider, and went on to write a best-selling novel about the murder. In other words, Camus and Merceau are combined into one person. Many years after the book's publication, Haroun is given a copy by a young woman research student with whom he falls unhappily in love. He reads the book hoping to learn more about his brother's death. What, for example, were his last words? He's outraged to discover that his brother only features as an anonymous victim. The word Arab appeared 25 times, he tells us, but no names, not for any of us. He eventually concludes that the whole book is a lie, and actually that insight goes quite deep. There's a postmodernist admission throughout the novel that what we've got here is fiction, examining fiction. So far, so predictable, and it might look as if the author wants to consign The Outsider to the dustbin of literary history. But it's far more complicated than that, because it turns out that our old narrator has also committed a murder, one which in certain respects resembles the murder in The Outsider. During the Algerian War of Independence, an unarmed Frenchman blundered into his home in the hope of finding refuge. The shooting was gratuitous and facilitated by the narrator's mother, who plays a crucial supporting role throughout. The murder victim is given a name, Joseph Lequay, and the new post-independence authorities know about the crime. Their only complaint, however, is that it occurred just after Independence Day instead of any time before. Haroun is released from custody. To his bitter disappointment, his revenge is reduced to the same level of insignificance as his brother's murder. The novel ends with him more or less explicitly converging on Merceau's philosophical position at the end of The Outsider. Life is absurd. He even attacks an imam, just as Merceau does a priest in Camus' novel. For all it takes issue with The Outsider, the Merceau Investigation is in the end also a tribute to it. Daoud evokes the story of Cain and Abel throughout. Crime begets crime, in a sequence to which there may be no beginning and no end, and certainly no possibility of innocence and probably no hope of redemption. All in all, it's a grim read, but in many ways it stands up as a major novel in its own right, quite apart from its relation to The Outsider.